It has truly been an honor and a great pride to coordinate this project, but without a doubt, the success is due to you, the men and women of the Brooklyn Jewish Center, who even after 30, 40, 50, even 60 years, yes, 60 years, have given yourself tonight with great enthusiasm and excitement. And I look forward to many more projects benefiting the great legacy of Brooklyn Jewish Center, benefiting the students of Olei Torah, bringing about unity, harmony to Klal Yisrael, the people of Israel, and all of mankind. At such occasions, we begin with a prayer of Shehecheyanu. Shehecheyanu v'kimonu, that God Almighty has sustained us, given us life, and brought us to this momentous occasion. This prayer is recited at milestone events, on the onsite of every major Jewish holiday. In just a few days, we'll be reciting this blessing as we usher in the upcoming Jewish New Year. As the women light candles, they say the blessing, and as the men recite the Kiddush at the festive table, they also recite the blessing of Shehecheyanu. And even on Yom Kippur, when we do not have a festive meal, nevertheless, right at the beginning, in front of the beautiful Aron Kodesh in the synagogue, we recite Shehecheyanu v'kimanu. We thank God who has sustained us and given us life and existence. Tonight, we have gathered, and I must say, each and every one of us in this ballroom was hand-chosen by divine providence. I have heard and I have been witness to story upon story of unbelievable coincidences, which our rabbis teach us that each coincidence is truly divine providence and divine intervention, especially when we're dealing with a gathering of a beautiful Jewish community, and especially for such an occasion. Just to repeat a few of them, for if I would tell all of my coincidences in this project, it would take us another 90 years. When I met Dr. Borer approximately 3 years ago to discuss the date, we were going back and forth which date, and by divine providence, we ended up on September 25th. And only later did we realize that September 25th is a very unique date in the history of the Brooklyn Jewish Center, for on this exact day, exactly 90 years ago, September 25th, 1921, was the dedication of the sanctuary area, and for this reason we decorated the hall in memory of that occasion. We also pay tribute to Richard Tucker, who was his last official service as cantor of the Brooklyn Jewish Center was at the marriage ceremony of Dr. Borer's parents. And his last performance, Richard Tucker's last performance, as his son Barry was telling us, in United States was in this very building in 1974 when they dedicated the sanctuary for Rabbi Leventhal. And on one more note, when I spoke to Mrs. Kate Prezell, and we discussed the dinner date, as she mentioned before, it was her father's birthday. So ladies and gentlemen, with all this great divine intervention, without any doubt, it's proper to give the prayer of thanksgiving, the prayer of Shehecheyanu v'kimonu, that the Almighty has given us life and existence. But it carries so much more meaning and depth. This prayer, which the rabbis give us to express our gratitude, has great meaning and a lesson for each and every one of us. When you look at the words Shehecheyanu v'kimonu, it says God has given us life and existence to reach this great day. The question is asked, why is life mentioned before existence? The order of the world is first you have to exist, and only then can you be alive. A rock, a building, even a human body can exist, but it could be empty and destitute, not alive with action, with life, but yet it exists. But only when one exists can you have life, yet the rabbis put these words, Shehecheyanu, who has given us life before existence, which is not the regularly order, because one cannot have any form of life with its existence. So why, therefore, do we mention existence before life? The rabbi set the prayer in this order to teach us that we must live our lives to the fullest. We must live our lives to the fullest potential and destiny to reach our purpose and goal. In one of my conversations with Dr. Borer, he told me, you know, Rabbi, the truth is I could retire. I don't really need this job at Downstate. But yet, Dr. Borer, you gave me encouragement. You didn't just exist. You said, no, if I have the strength, I'm going to make a difference, and you took the position in Downstate. And for that, we give you a big congratulations. And our dear Rabbi Kreitman, if I may say so, he's no youngster. Yet, when I spoke with Rabbi Kreitman about this project for the Brooklyn Jewish Center, he said, let's go for it, Rabbi Blumes. It's important. If it's going to benefit others, let's do it and bring meaning to others. This is called Shehecheyanu. This is called giving us life, bringing meaning in the world. There was once a fire in upstate New York, in a very, very large mansion, and the aides that were in the house immediately called the fire engine. A young fireman came up with his engine, and the aides and the nurses were saying, please, please help, there's an elderly gentleman trapped in the building. And he went into the fire, he grabbed the old man he found sitting and he couldn't get up, picked him up and brought him out of the house and saved his life. When he came to, the elderly gentleman called over the fireman and he said, young man, I have all the resources, I have many resources, I have many connections. You saved my life. You took me out of the fire. What can I do for you? Whatever you wish, I will bring you. He said, I was doing my job. I don't need anything. But yet he insisted, what can I do for you? You saved my life. Again, he said, I'm sorry, I did my job. I appreciate you appreciate it, and but he insisted. He insisted so strongly that all of a sudden the fireman became very serious. And he looked into the eyes of this elderly gentleman who was wishing him the world and what could actually grant him the world. And he said, yes, I saved your life. I saved you from being burnt in the fire. What I ask of you will only be one thing. Live your life that it should be a life worth saving. Live a good and productive life for yourself, for others, for the community, for God. Make it a life worth saving. We're here tonight celebrating this exact message. This message carried in this great building. The building would exist, even if it wasn't given over to the hands of Olei Torah. The question is, the existence of the building was never a question if it would exist. The question is, what kind of life would the building have? Would it continue to be a light and a beacon of Jewish life, of education, of beautiful weddings and bar mitzvahs? Would it be a center of the Jewish community? Or would it just simply exist? Which was a building that was once alive with Jewish life, but now it's just existing. In Hasidic philosophy, it teaches us that when a king goes out to war, to battle, he wants to win. He must save his kingdom. And for that, he's willing to give his greatest treasures. To your parents, to your grandparents of the Brooklyn Jewish Center, this was their true treasure. They built this wonderful and beautiful building as a beacon of Jewish life and culture. Yet, there was a war, ladies and gentlemen. There was a war, what would be with the Crown Heights community. As others moved in and the demographics changed, the leaders and the trustees of the Brooklyn Jewish Center saw this. And they fought many a battle, as some of you know, both from within and also from without, that this great edifice should stay as a vibrant center of Jewish education, culture, and life. Your parents were the kings and the queens who had foresight and the courage and the belief that the war of demographics will be won, even as bleak as it may look. And tonight, we are so proud to show you how the war was won. We sit here tonight, 30, 40 years later, and we see how right they were in this beautiful building. You tonight are the children of royalty, who reap the benefits of your parents' dedication, determination, and foresight. We welcome you and we thank you. There are so many, Yankee? There are so many that we need to thank this evening, and if I would start mentioning everybody, it would be almost impossible. I mentioned before Dr. Schiff, but I would also like to make a special mention. We have here tonight the daughters of Cantor William Soller, Biana and Gaina. I'm sorry, there's a lot of names to have learned over here. And we thank them for their help with the archives. But we thank you. I'm here today to thank you on behalf of Ole Torah. Yankee? I'd like to thank you for young David, the little young boy who is entering school and learning about the traditions and values that have kept us as a Jewish people year in and year out. I would like to thank you for the children who join in the swimming pool in the hot summer days, and even in the middle of school have their swimming lessons every single week. I would like to thank you for the rabbinical students studying, learning, and becoming devoted members of communities around the world through the work of Chabad Lubavitch. And I would also like to thank you for the beautiful weddings that take place in this building of the beautiful brides and grooms. This is a building of celebration. This is a building of Jewish life. I thank each and every one of you, and I wish you a happy and a most healthy New Year, and we say in Yiddish, a gut and gebenchte Jahr.